Hello everyone, welcome to Java Learners. In this video, we are going to learn how to use conditional on property annotation to conditionally create a bean. Let's understand when we should use conditional on property annotation. Here in this diagram, we can see that we have one interface named as notification, and we have two implementation classes for this notification interface, and those classes are email notification and SMS notification. Apart from these classes and interfaces, we also have application.properties file, and in this application.properties file we have a property named as notification.service.type, and its value is email. Suppose I have annotated the email notification and SMS notification classes with component annotation. As these classes are annotated with component annotation, so when Spring application will start, it will create beans for these two classes. What if we want to create a single bean of type notification? So that means either the bean for email notification would be created or the bean for SMS notification would be created, but at the same time both beans should not be created. Which bean would be created, it would be decided based on the value of the property. So in the application.properties file, the property value is email, then email notification bean should be created, and if its value is SMS, then the bean for SMS notification should be created. Using the conditional on property annotation, we can achieve this. In the conditional on property annotation, we need to provide the name of the property which we want to read from the application.properties file, and we also need to provide the expected value of the property. At the runtime, this conditional on property annotation will read the value of the property from the application.properties file, and then it will match the value from the property file with the expected value. If that value matches, in that case the bean would be created. If that value does not match, in that case the bean would not be created. The conditional on property annotation can be used with component annotation. So here on the screen you can see that I have taken two screenshots. One is from the application.properties file and the other one is from the email notification class. In the application.properties file, here we can see that we have one property, that is notification.service.type, and the value for this property is email. The email notification class is annotated with component annotation, and in conjunction with component annotation we are also using the conditional on property annotation. In the conditional on property annotation, we can see that we have three different attributes, which are prefix, name, and having value. The prefix attribute is basically used to group the related properties. So in this case, the properties which are created for notification, so a particular prefix would be used to represent those notification properties. And then we have another attribute, that is name, and this name attribute represents the property name. So in this case the property name is type. And the third attribute is having value. Having value attribute basically represents the expected value of the property. When Spring application will start, before creating the bean for email notification, it will read the property value for notification.service.type, and then it will match the expected value with the property value of notification.service.type. So here in the application.properties file, the value of notification.service.type property is email, and in the having value the value is email, so it is going to match. So in this case the email notification bean would be created. If the value of notification.service.type in the application.properties file is SMS, in that case, the value in having value would differ from the value in the application.properties files. In that case, the bean for email notification would not be created. The add conditional on property annotation can also be used with add bean annotation. So here I have taken an example of the configuration class, and the configuration class name is notification configuration, which is annotated with add configuration annotation. This configuration class has a bean method, and that bean method is annotated with add conditional on property annotation. In the add conditional on property annotation, we have three different attributes. The first attribute is prefix, second attribute is name, and third attribute is having value. The prefix attribute is representing a value that would be common for all the notification related properties, and the name attribute represents the name of the property. The having value attribute represents the expected value of the property. In the application.properties file, we have one property, and that is notification.service.type, and the value of this property is email. When Spring application will start, before creating the bean for email notification, Spring application will combine the prefix and name attributes value, and then it will read the value for this property from the application.properties file. If the value of this property matches with the value of having value attribute, then the bean for email notification would be created. If the value in the having value attribute does not match with the property value in the application.properties file, in that case the bean for email notification would not be created. The add conditional on property annotation can also be used with add configuration annotation. So here on the screen you can see that we have two configuration classes. The first one is email configuration and the second one is SMS configuration. In the email configuration class, we have one bean method, and that bean method is used to create a bean for email notification. In the SMS configuration class, we have one method notification, and this will create a bean for SMS notification. On both of these configuration classes, we have applied the add conditional on property annotation. In the prefix, we have provided the common string that would be used for all notification properties, and using the name, we have defined the name of the property, and using the having value attribute, we are providing the expected value. On the email configuration, we can see that the having value is email, and on the SMS configuration, the having value is SMS. In the application.properties file, the value of the property is email. So what will happen at the runtime? At the runtime, the having value of the email configuration class will match with the property value in the application.properties file. So it will create the bean for email notification only, and the bean for SMS notification would not be created, because in order to create a bean for SMS notification, the value of the property should be SMS. Let's learn more about add conditional on property annotation. This annotation can be used on the classes as well as methods. This annotation has 5 attributes, which are value, prefix, name, having value, and match if missing. Out of these 5 attributes, we have used 3 attributes, which are prefix, name, and having value. And now we are going to learn the value and match if missing attributes in the later in this video. Till now, we have seen that the property name was broken into two parts. The first part was the prefix part, and the second part was the name of the property. In the application.properties file, if the name of the property is notification.service.type, then we were representing the notification.service with prefix, and we were representing the type as a name of the property. So actually it was broken into two parts. When we do not want to break the property name into two parts, we can use a value attribute. In the value attribute, we provide the complete name of the property, which is used by Spring to create the bean conditionally at the runtime. Let's learn how to use value attribute in at conditional on property annotation. The value attribute in at conditional on property annotation is used to specify the name of the property, and this property name would be defined in the application's configuration file. The value attribute can be used alone or it can be used in conjunction with having value attribute. Let us first learn how to use it alone. So here in the screenshot you can see that we have a class named as email notification, and this email notification class implements notification interface, and this class is annotated with at component annotation, and I've also applied at conditional on property annotation on this email notification class. In the at conditional on property annotation, I have also provided the complete name of the property to the value attribute. What does this mean? When Spring application will start, before creating the bean for email notification, it will check whether this property notification.service.type is present in the application.properties file or not. If this property is present in the application.properties file, then it will create the bean for email notification. If this property is not defined in the application.properties file, then it will not create a bean for email notification. The value attribute can also be used in conjunction with having value attribute. So here in the screenshot, you can see that we have a class named as email notification, and on this class we have applied the conditional on property annotation. In the at conditional on property annotation, we are using two attributes, and which are value and having value. In the value attribute, we are providing the name of the property, and in the having value attribute, we are providing the expected value. So when Spring application will start, at that time it will check whether this property notification.service.type is present in the application.properties file or not. If it is present in the application.properties file, then it is going to read the value for this property from the application.properties file, and then it is going to match that value with the having value of this email notification class. In the value attribute of at conditional on property annotation, instead of passing a single value, we can pass multiple property names. So here you can see that I have provided two property names, which are notification.service.type and notification.service.enable.feature. So here it is going to accept an array of property names, and using the having value, I have specified the expected value for these properties. So for both of these properties, the value should be email. If the value is not email for any of these properties, then the bean for email notification would not be created. The bean for email notification would be created only when both of these properties are present in the application.properties file, and value for both of these properties is email. Let's learn how to use match if missing attribute of at conditional on property annotation. Here you can see that we have a class named as SMS notification, and it is declared a component, and we have also applied the at conditional on property annotation on the SMS notification class. In the attributes, we are using the prefix name having value and match if missing attributes. Using the prefix and name, we are defining the name of the property which would be evaluated at the runtime, and using the having value, we are providing the expected value, and we are also using this match if missing attribute, and its value is set to true. What does this mean? So it means that at the runtime, if the notification.service.type property is not present in the application.properties file, in that case, the bean for SMS notification would be created by default. So this match if missing attribute is used to declare the beans as a default bean. So consider a scenario where we have two notification classes, email notification and SMS notification, and both of these classes are annotated with at conditional on property annotation, and we are using this match if missing attribute on both of these classes, and we have provided the true value for match if missing attribute for both of these classes. So what will happen in that case? So in that case, the beans for email notification and SMS notification would be created, and when the IOC container will try to inject the bean in the notification dependency, in that case it would not be able to do that, because two beans would be created and it requires only one bean, so it would not be able to distinguish which bean should be injected. So whenever we are using this match if missing attribute, then we have to make sure this match if missing attribute should have a value as true for the single bean. We can use at conditional on property annotation in conjunction with at component annotation, and we can also use it with the at configuration annotation, and we can also use this annotation with at bean annotation. That's it for this video. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and please provide your comments in the comment section. Thank you.